For today's review, I have a what I consider a pristine condition AST Advantage Explorer laptop from 1993, and actually this is the laptop I have the most items for because I have the original shipping box with it, and so you can see from the shipping box has some details on it, so let's see what it shows. This AST Advantage Explorer comes with local bus graphics, pcmcia type 3 expansion slot, and abundant RAM, which is a whole 4 megabytes. So if you look at the specs themselves, this one comes with a 486SX33 with 4 megabytes of RAM, a 200 megabyte hard drive, floppy disk drive, and then some software, 14 volt AC adapter, although I have tested it. It uses the same plug and is cross compatible with a Toshiba 15 volt adapter of that generation, and there's no problems with it. You can see some advertising copy here. Ultimate value in notebook computer, lightweight, small profile, designed for excellent portability, quick, convenient communications through the pcmcia type 3 expansion port, and local bus graphics for superior video capabilities. So, interestingly enough, this was a great seller at the time. So let me show you what comes with the package. First off, you have the AST power plug. It's got the 14 volt, 1.5 amps, so pretty much a low power sub notebook of the generation. And this is my one of the only sub notebooks I have. This is some of the material that comes with it, the marketing material. I happen to have it, so I'll just show it. Ooh, this is a Canadian one. I guess they're based out of Mississauga. A pocket user's guide. It would be nice to maybe scan that in at some point, right? So it tells you how to use it. pcmcia slot information, some dusty papers, customer care, registration paperwork. Wow, this is all the original stuff. And then of course the obligatory cross-mark thing, Prodigy. Oh man, because modems are how you got online at the time. What was this one? America Online, before they gave it to you on CDs. And then a 3-year warranty, which is actually pretty impressive. Actually, this is obviously I'm based in Canada, so this one would have been a fairly robust warranty at the time. Let's see what else they have in this package, which is important disk ordering information, license certificate. So if you want a discounted copy of Windows Works, I guess you could just order it directly off their list of the time. So interesting package. This comes with complete box and everything. So let's take a look at what I have inside here. So this is the box that it came with, and I still have the original Sanyo battery, AST 9.6 volts, made in Taiwan. It's fairly heavy. I'm not sure if it's nickel metal hydride or if it's lithium ion. So 8 hours 4/3 amps, and I can tell you right now, nickel metal hydride is my suspicion. And why? If you look at these terminals, nickel metal hydride corrodes, and when it does corrode, it leaks, and when it leaks, it tends to give damage to metal and wear away a bit. And there's a little bit of green tinting you may not appreciate here. So I think that this is a nickel metal hydride battery, despite usually they label it that way so you know how to recycle it properly. But in 1992 there probably weren't a lot of lithium ions. Now in this package I see that the previous owner included a copy for the Windows 95. We have some notebook system utilities, CompuCenter. Wow, that brings back memories. And let's see what's inside this package. Microsoft Windows 3.1. Fantastic. Windows 95. Wow. And MS-DOS 6.2 on 3 disks. And what's behind here? Let's see. Windows 3.11. All right. So lots of floppy disks. And the amazing thing about the system, the floppy drive is still working. I have a whole bunch of much more impressive higher end compact systems of the era. Active matrix displays, compact LTL lights, elites. But the problem is that all the floppy drives on those systems have died and are essentially non-recoverable. Okay, let me install the battery pack after I tape it up. To prevent further damage, I do want to store the battery pack with the laptop, but to prevent further damage, what I'm going to do, because you're not getting massive leaks, most leaks will stay inside the sealed battery pack. It's just through the terminals that you may have some risk to it. So I'm going to take some Kapton tape that I have, and I'm going to tape over those terminals and hopefully seal them in so that I can store it inside the laptop. It won't be charging. And then the next owner will have all the parts, because I have to reduce my retro laptop collection. I just have too many things and not enough time to play with them, and feeling both stressed out and time pressured. So this is my goodbye and I guess love letter to the laptop. Okay, so let's disconnect this. Now, this battery is dead. There's no question it's already leaking already, and this just will prevent terminal corrosion. And let's take a look at this laptop. So this is the subnotebook class. So the subnotebook class is a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, and it does do away with some of the extras. You can see that there's a slot here. If I remember correctly, that's for the BIOS. Let's just reinsert the battery pack just for storage sake, and boom, it's already in. Now to open up the other slot, there's clear instructions here on RAM expansion, and to open it you twist. Okay, let me just grab a screwdriver or a coin. And let's open this up and see. So there's close, RAM expansion, open. So let's see what we have here. Okay. That hooks it open. And I'll have to try and pry it with a pry tool maybe. I can feel that it wants to come out. Let's see if I can do this with a plastic pry tool and not damage anything, or maybe it's just pressure. No such luck. And let's see if it can open through there. There you go. Interesting format. So you can see the BIOS chips are here, and this was from, looks like it's a proprietary RAM expansion card, so you can't use standard EDO or sodium sulfate. That's not unusual because this laptop was from 1992, 93. Let's see what else. Let's seal this back up. Closed. Great. So what else does it say? It says AST research, made in Taiwan, 486SX33, 14 volts, 1.5 amps. Let me just go through the rest of the laptop for you. So we have the expansion slots, and luckily you have slots for both. Oops, there we go. You have slots for both PS. You have two PS2 slots for mouse and keyboard, I guess, if you want to run it. You have the standard serial, parallel, VGA. So even though this is a dual scan monitor, it means that you can actually use it on your standard VGA monitor, and luckily a functional floppy drive, very thin profile. And these are all proprietary. And then on the left here, you have the pcmcia Type 3 slot, which comes with a slot protector. So let's boot this up and take a look at the system. Now, normally on all my other systems, I transfer in my data via compact flash because the floppy drives are dead. They no longer spin or they're damaged somehow. In this one, ironically, I've been able to transfer via floppy, and because I'm only running Windows 3.11 on this, I haven't tested this with my standard transfer mechanism, which is pcmcia to compact flash adapters. Okay, here we go. One important note. When you start up, if your CMOS battery is dead and it uses a solid state CMOS, you can get into the setup by pressing function escape. And this is important because it will have, if the CMOS is completely dead, it won't recognize your hard drive. And in order to avoid that, well, actually, let me turn off the light. There we go. You can see it's very faded. It's dual scan, but this is a dual scan color, which is actually a far cry from the black and white version, which most people have been using in this generation. So you can see it's a text-based keyboard. Go into system setup. You will see quick boot. You need to, if this is enabled, you need to disable it. With it enabled, it will not search for the hard drive with this dead CMOS battery, and it'll say no device found. If you turn off quick boot, then it will look and search for a hard drive. And this is not one of the other YouTubers told me about this one. Let me save that. The CMOS battery still works on this thing. And the YouTuber's channel was Paul's Crap, so shout out to him for helping me this. If you're looking for a complete disassembly, he does a wonderful job of taking this whole thing apart and pointing out. He does a compact flash IDE swap, which is something that I have not done. Now let's see if there's a way to get a better angle. And I think that that's pretty much it, because you're not going to see much going on here. You have some interesting boss keys. You can reverse the video. Okay. You can do grayscale. And let's take a look at the directory. 200 megabytes of DOS 6.22 with Windows 3.11 installed. And let's take a look at Windows. And ironically, this device, my higher end compacts, all the scroll wheels have failed or are failing. This one is just in absolute pristine condition. The scroll wheel works perfectly, buttons work perfectly, and look at this. You can have color Windows 3.11 experience. You can do some productivity stuff with Microsoft Office and PC Anywhere. And interesting enough, a 486 with 4 megabytes of RAM running Windows 3.11 is fast. So for this generation of a laptop, this is actually a highly usable and productive machine. The mechanical keyboard feels wonderful. And has good response and travel. So you can actually still use this ancient device, edit in Word for productivity, save it onto a floppy drive, and using a floppy drive reader, transfer it to a modern PC so you could, get some, really take this around. You just need to refurbish the battery pack, and you can really, get some kicks out of it. Now, the previous user of this, I think he was a database user. Like, it was obviously, I can see some of his programs left over are corporate-based programs, so this was not somebody that used it for gaming. But if you're getting these devices at this time, you're probably going to be looking at gaming as an option. So I've copied some games. Let's see if Xcopy works. Directory. Let's go. I'll have to do the /s, and there you go. It's good. You got to wait a few minutes. This floppy drive, you got to remember, it transfers in kilobytes per second, so it's going to be a minute. Now, a lot of people would be looking at going back for retro gaming to get this, but honestly, you can also use this for retro computing. If you want to play around with older Windows operating systems, anything below Windows 3.11 would do very well with 4 megabytes of RAM, and a 486 system would just be super fast. With external CRT monitor, you can even play all your traditional vintage games because it has a VGA out, and like I said, it'd be a wonderful retro gaming system that if you just want a 486 computer. I started my hobby almost a decade ago, and I collected a lot of desktops. I mean, 8088s, 286s, etc., etc. But every time I wanted to play with one, it would be so much effort to just hook them back up, and I don't have enough space to store them all installed. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to get the retro computing via laptops, and I think that's it scratches the itch to be able to play with these devices without having to have the storage problems I had before. The only problem with the retro laptop or vintage laptop scene is that if you get component failure, and luckily this one nothing's failed yet, but if you do get component failure, it's a much harder repair because you're looking for parts to be scavenged off eBay or something. Let's see what's in games. Well, interesting. Yeah, the owner of this set the autoexec to automatically log into a subdirectory, which is interesting, rather than going to the main directory. I presume it's for convenience purposes. Let me just edit that so that the next person doesn't have to deal with starting up the computer in a subdirectory. I presume it's LKOS is his batch file to get into Alt F save. So the color is actually pretty good. Let's see what LKOS changes directories into this weird subdirectory that he has. Probably the initials of the previous owner. But most people want to come into the main directory so they can play around with this. Let's see how Tetris runs on a dual scan system, if it runs. Oh yeah, there was Tandy Tetris, T Tetris, a CJ Tetris, and EJ Tetris. Oop, well, didn't like that on a... That's interesting. By the way, there is no diskette drive B. I presume that uses external adapter that I don't have. Let's try that game. Let's see if C Tetris works. There's no other I wonder what R Tetris stands for. Nah, it just doesn't like it. Okay, let's try the next thing. Yeah, but if you're looking at retro gaming, if you want to scratch that retro computing itch, get a laptop. I mean, I think either a Pentium or a 486 is probably the best bet because it has the most flexible transfer. You need that pcmcia to transfer data back and forth easily. Anything under 386, a lot of times the floppy drives are dead or dying, and it's really hard. Also, the 486 and above, you generally support the IDE interface, so you can swap in compact flash to IDE drives in case, well, when your hard drives fail, or if you just want a speed boost. Let's try Feud. I believe this is Family Feud. There you go. This is PC speaker sound, SVGA graphics. I think there was a way to turn off some of the sound. Are you returning champions? No. Retro. Advertises as detergent. There you go. My sister loved to play this way back then. Oh, that's interesting. It's clicking properly. What else is heavy duty? Soap? Oh, there you go. Classic CGA. And if I remember correctly, this game had no way out. You have to reboot. And so we will. Control-Alt-Delete is the reboot sequence. For those of us that grew up in DOS era, you did that more times than you can remember. In fact, you had to reboot just to restart the auto-exec and config. Let's try one more game. I'm not sure what this is actually. Whoa, does it actually work? Usually I would think I can't find the jump key on this. And that was the way you used to do it. You wouldn't have the manual quite often, so you would manually be trying all the keys, and without the jump, usually it's space, but oh, what happened? Ah, there you go, it's Alt. I don't hear sound, and that's the problem with dual scan. Do you see that? As you're playing and you're moving, there's ghosting, and that was literally how they saved money. And it was rare that you would have active matrix screens, and even if they were active matrix, they're not the new IPS high quality stuff. They're low viewing angle TNTs, which we all lusted for at the time. Actually, this is a pretty good game. very responsive on a 486 and actually still playable, which gives me hope for running this system as a gaming machine. I really don't think you'll want to play too many games with it, but it's not the worst. And the color is actually kind of, although muted, kind of like watercolory, it's not bad at all. And this guy did program exit. This is very impressive programming. It might be just one level, but you can see it's only 57 kilobytes. And I did take a look at his README. I don't know who did it, but I'll show. Oops. I just want to give a shout out to Mike Waring for programming this. That would run smoothly on a 25 megahertz 486 computer. That's 6 levels and it's below 64K. This is exactly what we're running on. So a lot of retro gaming, and like it would be easy enough, I think, to use this system. Just have it in front of your modern monitor, connect the VGA cable, and with a great keyboard and a little PS2 mouse, you can basically have your full experience without having the hassle of storage. Anyways, I apologize for the long-windedness of this, but there actually is very few reviews or data on this Advantage Explorer. It's just not one of the beloved ones. It doesn't help that AST went bankrupt and no longer supports or fallen out of the mental mindscape. So those of us that have these rare machines, you know, share information so that we can all benefit from essentially end of life and legacy vintage products. Thank you for watching, and I will just do one last thing here. I will go back into Windows and demonstrate how effective that scroll track point is. It's very smooth, very accurate. Look at that. And you have to put because of the ghosting, you had the mouse tails. You see that the mouse gives little tails as you move, but all the buttons are super responsive and accurate. And actually, I have to say, it's maybe better than my Toshiba point sticks that IBM and Toshiba decide to go with. But they do accumulate debris, and every once in a while you have to open up these scroll wheels and clean them out. Okay, thank you for watching, and hope you enjoy your retro computing experience.